YouTube. Give it a couple more minutes, give people time to come in. Conversation. What up? What up? What up? You just came in, like the video. Let me know you in here. Let me know you in here so we can get started. Drop something in the chat real quick. We about to get started in a jiffy here. Split second. We actually I think I found a quiet spot somewhat. Hopefully you'll pick up on the conversation down there. You was coming into YouTube, like the video. Let me know you in here. Drop something in the chat. We about to get started in 1 second. We about to have a conversation somebody asked me about last year. Um, I think it was a great question. I told them this year I will answer that question. I was blessed to see another year, so I'm able to answer the question. But like the video, so I know you here. Um, we going to start somewhere else first though. The reason being is I got asked a pretty interesting question on like the video as you come into YouTube, like the video for me. I got asked a pretty interesting question. I think it was Friday night. Um, we waiting to go on this patio so we could sit down. And I was asked a question. I was asked, I'm a paraphrase it because I can't remember verbatim, but I was asked something to the effect of, in order to mend fences, so to say, right? In order to bring family members back together, this person was wrong but feel as though they was wrong, right? But in order to mend fences and find a level playing field so they all could be in the same vicinity without somebody feeling like they got to skip out on the event. This guy extended the olive branch and said, pretty much I'm gonna paraphrase the text message, something to the effect of, life's too short. Let's not let's not be the next time we come together is at somebody's funeral, right? Which is typically what you hear when it comes to family members and things of that nature, right? It's hey, let's go ahead and resolve this while we still can and enjoy the time that we got here together, like, that kind of time. Um, so he asked me my opinion of it, right? And I thought that was very manly of him. I thought that he definitely went above and beyond. But it's not, but this is multiple times that he's tried to do this though, right? Um his reasoning this time was like, it's my cousin's 50th birthday. I don't want him to skip out on this. It's a milestone that we as a family should partake in, right? And he's just trying to get water beneath the bridge, like I said, so they can come back together as a family unit and enjoy milestones such as this one, right? His family member didn't respond back to him and didn't show up to the birthday celebration, whatever the case may be. So he asked me my opinion of, why or what he should do. And my take is you really did all you can do, right? Um, in the case of when someone know that they wronged you, like you got a couple different types of individuals. You got the individual that will run head first into the fire, not in a bad way. I mean it from a standpoint of I know I did something wrong. I probably shouldn't have did that. I'm super apologetic for it. I'm gonna come in and as a man and apologize, right? I'm gonna fall on my sword, so to say. You got um people that know they're wrong, but they're too stubborn to go and do the right thing, right? You got people that really don't feel like they did nothing wrong, though, right? And there's really nothing you can do about that. There's no way you can personally mitigate that because that person is fighting their own demons and their own evils, right? So they really in their own way, right? So and when you typically look at people of that nature, they don't really have a solid governor. And it's not just you they do these kind of things to, right? So then that's when you gotta learn not to internalize something, right? Even though something may principally it may get to you, right? It may bother you to the core, as it should, right? Um, but there is nothing that you can verbally say to this person in order for that person to come around, right? Because, like I said, one, the guilt is eating them. They know they did wrong, right? Or the guilt is eating them, or they just don't think they did that wrong. You got two type of people within that particular spectrum. The person that don't think they wrong, I guess that could be considered a level of narcissism. That's an attribute of narcissism, but there's a whole lot of other things that go with narcissism. It's not just one attribute. It's like 10. And typically to be diagnosed with something, you got to reach like 6 or 7 out of 10, right? So we're not going to be diagnosing people on here, but um, it's a trait that is actually a common trait. Unfortunately, it's too common. Um, only thing I could really say to him was focus on yourself, man. Like just being honest, man. It's like focus on yourself. And I get it. Too many times when families decide they want to come back together, make amends, and be a family unit because somebody died, right? And everybody's sad for that, just for that duration, right? Everybody's sad. Everybody's like, just call me or I love you, and let's get together, and that all the typical BS, right? All the typical BS. I this is why I stand on what I stand on when it comes to wordplay, right? Because even if you know, if two people was as close as they said they were, anything trivial should never be able to come in the middle of that, right? Not to say people can't be have a disagreement, not to say people can't be at odds, not to say that I can't call you out or you can't call me out, right? I'm a firm believer. I always say that correction is a punishment. Um, People have a right and entitled to feel how they feel, right? And then another part of the conversation we had was I like the unfortunate part about human and human interaction, whether it's man, woman, 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 man, man, whatever the case may be, right? Is that we all get built differently when it comes to things that we may internalize and take personal what is said to us or said in our direction, right? We all built differently. Um, just because you don't deem something disrespectful, or just because you don't deem something as a violation, it doesn't mean that the other person doesn't, right? And somewhere in there, you got to be humble enough. You got to be open minded enough to hear a different perspective of why that's not cool, right? Um, and far too often, you have people that they don't have that, right? The way my brain is built when it comes to that particular thing is really if you're not open minded enough to have a conversation, listen to another point of view on something, then I really don't really want to be around you. You know what I mean? Because we all have our moments where we might have said something, might have done something that wasn't particularly cool, right? Like I said, we all design differently on how we internalize things. It don't mean that somebody is sensitive because they took something personal, right? Because the flip side is if you take something personal, you want nobody to say you're sensitive. You want somebody to understand fully what you're saying. You want that same line of respect, right? So we got to get the back to the baseline of just basic, decent human respect and interactions, right? Principles and parameters, right? It's a baseline for everything. Um, but I think the part that I really took from that conversation was the fact that when I really listened to him, and I could hear the pain in his voice of how bad he wanted his cousin to be there, right? And I'm really like, damn, bro, like, there's really nothing you can do to fix that because you didn't break it in the first place, right? Like the guy did something that when he didn't do something that he was supposed to do, and it was like a deflection and reversal psychology, I guess, reverse psychology, I guess. On no, you did something wrong, so I'm gonna go ahead and fall back from you, and I'm gonna give you the cold shoulder like you wronged me, right? And like I said, there's 1,000 people like that in the world. They come a dime a dozen, unfortunately, right? Because people, I tell people the hardest thing for people to do. This is what separates the men from the boys. You know what separates the men from the boys? Women from girls? The ability to look in that mirror and be honest. The ability to look in that mirror and say, damn, I really ain't got no excuse for that. That was on me. I just did what I wanted to do. It ain't really no other excuse for it. But the moment you start pointing the fingers and deflecting and saying so and so, like, come on, man, you already out of pocket, B. You're not a man and you're not a woman. You got some growing to do. And you may never become a man and a woman because accountability is essential to being a man or a woman. It's essential. You don't get to be a savage and victim. Where they do that at? You got to pick a side and stay on it, right? You want to be a savage? Be a savage. That's why it's like when you go outside, you no longer a civilian, right? So now you got to abide by all the street rules and invisible rule book, right? You can't fall back and say, "Oh, I'm a civilian." No, you can't. You don't get that luxury no more. You got to pick what side of the table you want to be on. It's the same difference, man. You gonna be a savage, or you gonna be a victim, or just a regular person. You ain't gotta be a victim, but don't run around and do what you want to do. And then when it come back in a manner that makes you uncomfortable, now you want to be the victim about the situation that you created. How the hell can you do both? So the other person supposed to lose twice? Huh? No, I just find that to be crazy, man. I really find that to be crazy. Especially like when I know the ins and outs of that particular story and situation. But it's a million scenarios just the same way. It may have different variables. It may involve different variables, but when you break it down to the essence, it's the same thing. It's the fruit from the same poisonous tree, right? So um, we just need to get back to a point or get to a point where people can really stand on business and really stand on morals. Um, and I know that's not so easy said than done. I get it. I understand. I don't get it, but whatever, right? Like I said, I think the part that I took away from that was the pain in his cousin's voice of how much he wanted to his cousin to be there, his presence. You know what I mean? So they could enjoy that moment. The rest of his family was there, a lot of other family. It was some people that was missing, but yeah, they had a lot of family there, and he really felt like he wanted him to be there. Which, like I said, I fully understood that. Um, but yeah, um, I just wanted to share the principles, the parameters part. I'm sorry, I started this off all wrong. I didn't do no intro. I didn't. I just dove right into this conversation. Um, I just dove right into this conversation tonight. But it's principles and parameters. It's politics on the corner. We do this every Tuesday night at 7 o'clock. YouTube Live, Facebook Live. Um, Shout out to Jones Nelson. Shout out to Advanced Chemical Sensors. Um, you go back to one of my previous videos. I'm in the studio with the actual information up there. Um, but yeah, we stand on principles and parameters. You know what I mean? Our conversation ain't for everybody. I don't want it to be for everybody. Um, this is for people who get it. This is people with morals, values, principles, and parameters. If you ain't got none of that, then you don't really want to be here anyway. Um, on your way in, like the video, let me know you here. Um, let's get into the second part. So last year, right, I got asked a question. I got asked, what does Veterans Day mean to me, right? And I immediately laughed, right? I'm a silly guy. I immediately thought it was funny, right? Um, for a multitude of different reasons. I just thought it was funny. Um, I put Veterans Day really in the same box with Black History Month, uh, Memorial Day, Fourth of July, um, Thanksgiving. I put all those days in the same box. I know some people ain't gonna like this answer. I already know some people ain't gonna like this answer. But like I said, I'm not for everybody. I don't told you I ain't for everybody now. But this answer, I mean, this that question is so loaded because um on one end you acknowledge the fact of why it became to be, right? Start off as Armistice Day to acknowledge veterans of World War I, right? That's where it started off at, right? Then it extended, um it kind of moved around a little bit. When it officially became switched to Veterans Day for all veterans, whatever the case may be, when it officially became actual day to honor and recognize all veterans, so to say. Um, Gerald R. Ford is the reason why it's on the 11th now. Ex-President Gerald R. Ford, he's the reason why it's on the 11th now. Um, like I said, it started off as Armistice Day. It was in honor and recognition of World War I vets, um, which then went to it grew to Veterans Day to acknowledge all veterans of the armed services, not just war vets, all veterans of the armed services. No matter how long you serve, whether you served in peace or whether you served during war, it didn't matter. It doesn't matter. I mean, um, so so that part of it you want to recognize, you want to identify, you want to acknowledge fully, right? Because when you sign that contract, you sign that contract with the understanding that you really have no control over what's going to happen next. Um, and you know, it's a saying, "Oh, we don't got control anyway." But it's a major difference for me, to me, when you are literally signing that control over. It's way different, right? You can be wherever you from, Philly, New York, LA, Chicago, St. Louis, Mississippi somewhere, Arkansas somewhere. It doesn't matter, right? And somebody could put you on a boat or a plane and say, "Yeah, you're going to go over here to the trenches and fight a war that you have no idea why they're angry." It really doesn't involve you, right? This is a bunch of old white people that's mad at each other, typically. Just the truth, right? I seen this meme. This meme was ill. It said, "Old white men get mad, young men go to die." That was the illest meme that I seen with this particular topic, right? Um, but yeah, so you have no control over what's next. You're literally signing that away, saying and acknowledging I have no control over what's next. Um, and you know, not unless you sign up during an actual conflict, right? You can't really anticipate it, right? You can sit back and say, "Oh, China acting up. Oh, Iran acting up." They've been acting up forever, right? This isn't something new. They just being bad. They need to go to the timeout corner. They've been acting up forever, and the war ain't started yet, right? So you really can't gauge that, right? There's always been a level of military posturing. That's the word. That's the term I'm gonna use for this, right? And what I mean by that is um spying on each countries spying on each other, um, planes flying too close to structures, to ship structures, to other planes, and like all that stuff has always been going on, man. Like that ain't nothing new. Russia putting submarines off the coast and all that foolishness, right? As long as they stay in international waters, they're good, right? Um, but them type of things have always happened. That's not anything new. Only difference is now that the information is easier to be accessible, right? So you can find out about something dumb quick. Where before you would have never known that happened, right? So you can't gauge it by that. Um, but a part of you have an understanding that anything can happen at any given moment, right? And in a moment's notice, you gotta go. You gotta kiss your family, or you gotta call your family and tell them, "Yeah, I'm going," right? Without no understanding or knowledge if you're going to make it back or not. It is what it is, right? But you sign up for that, right? You sign up with the understanding of that, so that's not an issue, right? Um, Now when you get in there, you serve, you learn different things. Um, you learn how to be one with whatever unit or command or whatever you're a part of. Um, they become your brothers and sisters immediately, right? Because y'all all depend on one another to do their job, so everybody can make it back home safe, right? That's just one plus one. Um, when you gotta go into a conflict zone, it's the same thing, same concepts and principles. It's just on steroids now, right? You're just more alert, more aware, you're more guarded, and your attitude sucks. Just being honest, right? Because the stress and the tension, right? It kind of promotes that those brain frequencies to get out of whack. Um, and depending on what you do over there, right? It depends on the level of out of whackness your brain becomes. Now, when you come back home, you're expected to function as a full blown regular person, right? When your brain has done nothing, nothing has been done really to get your brain back in whack, right? So now a lot of those habits and life life saving or life protecting mechanisms that you develop, right? They're still there. They don't just dissipate and go away and say, oh, damn, I no longer got to think that way. That's not the way the human brain works, right? I don't know who told who what. My father had a saying. Uncle Mike, what up? You can relate to this. Um, my father had a saying. Uncle Sam turns the light switch on, but he doesn't turn it off. Right? That's my father's favorite saying. He served during the Vietnam era. Right. Um, and it's a true statement. It's a true statement. Um, what they attempt to do, right? And I understand they've gotten a little bit better at this, right? They're trying, I guess. Like the video on the way in on Facebook. Um, what they've tried to do is give you a reintegration program, so to say, right? Take all these different classes and courses and learn all these different techniques so you can reintegrate into regular life, well, into society and into your family life if you have a family, right? Teach you little techniques to pretty much it should be a methodical approach, right? Um, and to take time for yourself, right? Which isn't always easy to do, which isn't, I mean, depending on your family situation and depending on what's going on there. Um, because you got a family, your wife could be looking like took time for yourself. Now I've been with these kids 8, 9, 10, 11 months by myself. I ain't trying to hit none of that, right? But at the same time, it's like, yo, you just don't know what I just been through, right? They don't know what you've been through, and they never going to know what you've been through. Um, so that's one of them things where it's a it's almost like a damn if you do, damn if you don't scenario. Because if you try to reintegrate too fast, then that person might feel like you're stepping on their toes, but they feel like they've been holding this thing down by themselves for a while now, and they got everything figured out. You want to come and try to change everything, right? Um, or your mind just couldn't be right, and you're reacting in a manner that isn't conducive for a home life, right? Your level of irritability, your level of frustration, um, your anxiety, all these different mental health conditions that you don't develop, that just doesn't dissipate, that you need help to figure out how to lessen because you're going to probably die with um these attributes now. These attributes more likely became a part of your fabric now, right? So now you have to figure out a way to manage them, which is if that's even really a thing, right? Um, you have to figure out a way to try to manage it. It's not one plus one. It's something that you have to be cognizant of though, right? You just can't dismiss it and say, "Oh, it is what it is." It's something that you gotta be cognizant of. Um, so this is your new life, whether you got out when you got back, or whether you stayed in, and then you want to did a whole nother tour, then another tour, right? You're just magnifying the issues, right? And then it becomes to the point where some people they don't even feel right being home. They rather be over there somewhere because now this is the time they mind on, right? Their mind is no longer on family life. Their mind is no longer on kids, wife, girlfriend, dad, father, sister, brother. Their mind ain't there no more. Their mind on go mode now. Everything they see is Charlie, right? That's all they see. Yo, I had a better, easier time just over there putting in work. But now I got to come in and put this kind of different work in when I actually got to think. I actually got to be mindful. No, I don't want to walk around the grocery store. You know what I'm saying? I want to go and hunt Charlie. I don't want to walk around the grocery store. I don't want to teach nobody no math. I don't got time for none of this. My mind ain't here no more. You got it. And there's a lot of people that fall victim to that cycle, right? Um, but you could take the war aspect out of it, right? Because the way your mind becomes so regiment, on a systematic daily process of what you how you go about things daily, right? That could create a conflict, right? Because what y'all gotta understand is when you do this and you sign that contract, that person entered into a whole nother world that y'all can't even fathom and enter, right? You try to keep as much of you as possible, right? That's the key. So try to keep as much as you as possible. Um, so when you're done, whether it's 4 years, 8 years, 20, 40 years, you got some resemblance of who you are, of who you were, right? So, and that's easier said than done because the whole thing is to manipulate you. The whole thing is to brainwash you. The whole thing is to get you in a different time and a different way of thinking and to thinking their way, particularly, right? That's what their whole agenda is. You no longer have an identity. Your identity is United States Navy, Marine, Air Force, Army, Coast Guard, whatever the case may be. That becomes your first name. That's you see uniforms. Only thing on there is your last name because that's what you identify now by. That's what comes first. Like the video on the way in, Facebook or YouTube. Like the video on the way in. But that becomes your new identity and the person you're supposed to become, right? Um, so you go through all that, right? You go through all this metamorphosis, right? That's really what happens. And whatever time you're done, everything Gucci while you in there to an extent, everything Gucci. Um, but now you're out. Your mind ain't the same. Your body ain't the same. Fact. I don't give a damn how long you did. Your mind isn't the same, and your body isn't the same. You would never get that back, right? So they put you in the VA healthcare system. They say free healthcare for veterans. But when you go there, the medical care is substandard. If you could get somebody on the phone, if you can get an appointment within a reasonable time frame, right? But they did get better when Obama was in office. Anything over 30 days now, you can go to a local doctor outside the VA hospital as long as they're in the network. And they'll let you know who's in that network, right? So they have tried to improve that part, right? But what if I told y'all that once upon a time, not too long ago, I'm talking like 2019, 20-ish, 171 veterans, the average was 171 veterans committed suicide every day. What if I told you that? Would y'all believe me? Or y'all think I was full of shit? It's down to 17 today. Today's times is down to 17 with the latest down, 17 a day. And that's like they really have a parade for that, right? Well, I guess it is a far cry from 171. But think about that. And the highest age group of suicide was like over 65, like 65 to 74. So this was the ill part. No, I'm lying. 54 to 63 had the highest numbers of suicide. 25 to 34 had the highest suicide rate. I know y'all just jumped back and was like, what the hell? Yeah, yeah, I was trying to make sense of this myself, right? 55 to 64 has the highest number of suicides. 25 to 34 has the highest suicide rate. And quite naturally, the means of choice is a firearm, right? Quite natural. Um, the Veterans Crisis Line, which has improved. But not too long ago, they was averaging 1,000 unreturned messages per day from veterans. So when somebody asks me, what does Veterans Day mean to me? You got to be very careful who you ask what question to. Because when I go around this country, right, I see the number of homeless vets that are out of control. I see the number of vets that are addicted to alcohol and narcotics. Um, I see the number of vets that can't find gainful employment. Um, the number of vets that's committing suicide, which is double. Well, by the way, the number of vets that commit suicide is double that of the regular average of regular civilians, people that never served. I'm sorry. You understand? So let's begin to frame this a little clearer here, right? Because you talk about air traffic controllers got a crazy suicide rate, or doctors got a crazy suicide rate, whatever the case may be. Veterans double that. Any demographic you can give outside of a veteran, it will at least double, minimum double, right? So let's be very careful with this conversation before somebody come with some rebuttal that doesn't make sense, right? And then you gotta get your head chopped off. Um, but that's when I look. That's what I look and see. Now, could some of them be lying on the side of the road that said it was private veteran? Yeah, some of them could be lying, right? But I know all of them not lying. I know all of them not lying. When I go into VA hospital and I see veterans with missing legs and somebody behind the counter talking to them crazy, they can't get the proper assistance. And people back there complain, oh, he's having a bad day, or I ain't hit for your bad day. Yeah, he got a bad day. The only reason why you got a job because he got a bad day. If he didn't have a goddamn bad day, you wouldn't have no job here. He had his bad day many moons ago. That's why he ain't got no damn legs. Oh, but you ain't think about that part of the game, right? That part of the game never came up on your radar. You never thought about that. Because you too busy in your bag because your husband just ran a train on some other chick outside. That's what you coming home mad about. Man, y'all know I go there. So you want to bring this to an institution that's there to serve people that have sacrificed their body and their family so your punk ass can come to work. And it's the person you decide you want to have an attitude with. But at the same time, I supposed to be happy about a Veterans Day, right? I supposed to feel, oh man, I supposed to jump up and say, man, they talking about me today. Why the fuck? Tell me why they got to be a designated day to acknowledge people that did something to that magnitude. So now you got all these goddamn restaurants and all these stores and stuff. Oh, military discount. No, y'all don't give it no other day. Y'all don't give it no damn other day. Now y'all want to worry about military discount? Every day should be military discount. You got kids out here that never met their daddy because their daddy gave the ultimate sacrifice. That man left when that woman was pregnant or when that baby was dumb young and he ain't never make it back home. So it's kind of hard for me to wrap my head around this whole concept of Veterans Day. It's kind of hard for me to get excited and feeling respected and appreciated. And it's complicated, especially when people can't get the proper care that they need because of it. I remember I was going through I'll never forget this. I had just retired and I was going through should I do it? I'm gonna do it. I was going through Hampton, Virginia, VA, right? And they was like, you need to get in a PTSD class, and we need to get you talking to people, and yada 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 yada. So I'm like, all right, whatever. I already knew it was some bull crap. I'm like, you know what? I'll do it. I'll play the game. Let me see where it go. Even though the crystal ball told me where it's go. I called Dionne Warwick and her homies, and they was like, yo, sit down. It's bull crap, right? So I go through it. So first day of my appointment, I show up. I sit down. It's like this 23-year-old young woman, right? And I'm looking at her like, I'm thinking like she just gonna be there to take some initial notes or something like, and then bounce. Right? So I'm sitting there, and she asked some initial baseline questions of what I thought, right? Then she started asking some more in-depth questions, and I'm looking like, so you the? She was like, yeah, I'm the person that's going to talk to. I'm gonna be your psychiatrist, whatever the case may be. I'm a but I'm a student. I do this as an internship. I'm like, you do this as an internship? She like, yeah. I'm like, so in my head, I feel super disrespected, right? I'm like, oh, these dudes played me, right? I said, so they once again, there's no respect, right? I'm looking like you read my file, you know what's in my file. Oh, so you don't even respect the game? Okay. So I seen it about 2 or 3 times, right? More times. And I go in there, I'm just sitting there like this, like, fuck I'm supposed to talk to you about? Like, so then the last time I seen her, she asked me, she's like, this well, she makes a statement. She said this works better with if your level of interaction goes up, right? If you talk to me to let me know, what you're experiencing, what you're thinking, what you're feeling, yada yada yada. So I say to her, I'm like, yo, listen, I don't mean no harm, right? You still live at home with your folks? She like, yeah. I'm like, okay. And you in college, right? She like, yeah. I'm like, oh, okay. So you ain't seen nothing. I don't see no experience. So how can you talk to me? Like, I get it. You gonna read out of a handbook. I get it. You got a handbook that give you a systematic process. If he say this, you say that. If he say this, you say that. You say this, you tell him to do all these breathing coping techniques, right? And that was you gonna tell me, right? Count to 10 like I'm climbing up the stairs, sit there for about 5 minutes, count to 10 and climb back down. Like you could join me with that one, right? And she was like, yeah, that is one of them. Yeah, yeah, I know. I know that's one of them. I said, this is where the disconnection is at, right? Your life experiences are not to a magnitude where you can help me. Because what I experienced is not in no handbook. I didn't go through a car accident. I didn't fall out of a building or something. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, the stuff that people that wore that uniform, when they come back home, the stuff they experience isn't normal. And y'all need to understand this completely abnormal for American citizens. You know why? Because we're not raised like that. No matter how bad you think you I grew up in North Philly. And when I say they would come over here and laugh and probably sleep in the middle of the street comfortably in North Philly, because since they yay high, they shooting AKs. They living through bombs. That their whole way of life is totally different. You understand? You need to understand that part of it. They're raised in conflict on a scale that the average American can't even fathom. They go to war for real. No, we kind of play with war here. No, they wipe out whole villages, whole towns. Like I said, they got little 7, 8 years old. They've been a damn with perfect technique letting AKs go. Anybody that'll strap a bomb to their body and blow themselves up has got a whole level of dedication and commitment that I ain't cut for. You understand? There ain't nobody here really cut for. So I'm sitting there trying to describe this to her. Like, we spoiled, dog. Our brains and minds and all that was a condition for that. For that. And then we come back here. We don't. It was one thing if we went through that and we stay there. No, we come back here and then we looking like we can walk down and nah, yeah, yeah. We ain't got to worry about a whole lot of now. Somebody else acting wild and crazy, but you got that covered, right? But what they have to account for and worry about and the way they minds is conditioned is totally different than anything that we can think that we've been through when it comes to that, right? So I'm sitting there trying to describe this to her and tell her that what I said from the beginning is really nothing you can do for me. And I feel disrespected and insulted. And because another part she was like, you're not opening up, yada yada. And I asked her a question. I said, how many vets actually go because she said it's been shown that if vets go through this process that they do all right. So it's like she tried to mind with me, right? So I'm like, so you said I'm gonna repeat this back to you. The vets that actually go through this process ends up all right. I'm cool with that. But what you're not telling me is the number of vets that think this process is bullshit and didn't go through it. I bet you more of them didn't go through it than those that did. I bet you that. Yeah, you're probably right. No, no, I know I'm right. I didn't ask you a question. I know I'm right because any vet that come in here, and there's people that did things more than me. And if I feel this way, I know those that exceeded what I've done is going to feel 10 times as irritated and pissed off. That's not even a question mark. I said the average vet is not going to come in here and feel respected if you're sitting there because they're going to look at it the same way I'm looking at. Why they give me this kid for grown situations? This was a grown situation that people experienced. This wasn't no kid situation. This wasn't, oh, I got my girlfriend knocked up. She live at mommy house. No, 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 this ain't that. This is alarms going off all times of night and running and getting underneath bunkers. And this is bombs and all that stuff going off around you. And this is that. You ain't qualified. So now where they got it to where you can't go on base any longer if you're retired or you're a veteran to get any real care. The average psychiatrist you would see out here as a civilian can't understand nothing you're talking about. So it's like, why would I go down this rabbit hole? But at least if I went down this rabbit hole, at least give me somebody grown. At least give me somebody with some age and experience. Somebody that's seasoned. You gonna give me somebody that's in college. Somebody that's worried about writing a thesis. So that's what I think of when I think of Veterans Day. That's what the lack of respect that veterans continue not to get. The disrespect that's still at an all-time high. That's what comes the first thing that comes to my mind. Not some parade, not some Facebook post, not some Instagram post, not some me go on my phone to dig up a picture. Not none of that. I think about these vets that are going into the Veteran Affairs campuses, hospital campuses, and literally shooting themselves in the head. Those are the ones, those are the people I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about when you walk on that campus, you see homeless vets sleeping on the lawn. That's what I'm thinking about. That's what I'm thinking about. And I don't know how I can really think about anything else. So to me, it's a case where people talking out of both sides of their mouth. Honor the vets, salute the vets. Then it's really fuck them vets because your actions say fuck them vets because your lack of actions, the lack of correction. You know what I'm saying? How can we stand up and honor that, man? It ain't honorable. That ain't honorable. And every year, once a year, we supposed to have a parade and go to schools and tell war stories and be like a public display puppet. Shit that people ain't gonna think about tomorrow. Oh, it's the 12th. It's over for that Veterans Day thing. It's a wrap. You had your day. It's over for that. But at the same time, you coming up on another government shutdown where the same military is impacted if the government shuts down. The same military that doesn't get paid. But those Congress people get paid. Those Senate people get paid. That congressman, congresswoman, they get a check. But people that's assisting with the ability for them to walk into that Capitol building ain't getting paid. Do you understand what I'm saying with the continued cycle of disrespect? It's not isolated. It's not isolated. And we supposed to sit back and salute this. Nah, tell the truth. So once again, if this bill don't get passed, it's going to be because of the lack of funding for Ukraine and Israel, who's dead wrong by the way, but Israel. So the people in America, employees, government employees, and military don't get paid because y'all care more about Ukraine and Israel. Oh, okay, I got it. I got it. That actually makes sense. Come on, man. Come on, man. America, y'all gotta wake up somewhere, man. Y'all gotta wake up, man. One plus one ain't two. It ain't two. This is bananas. They got like 72 hours to avoid a government shutdown. They gonna make some of a measure and give it like another 30 days. Like, come on, man, it's bullcrap. It's bullcrap. But those same people you just got them having all these parade fools and nonsense on Saturdays, the same people that be impacted if the government gets shut down without getting paid. These same people. These same people just have parades full all day telecast and everybody got military discounts and bring the whole family and yada yada yada. And if we salute the family because when that person serves, the family serves with them, and so when that person doesn't get a check, the family you talking about starves. Y'all realize that go hand in hand, right? I mean, with the wage gap, some of them already starved. Never mind. That's another conversation for another day. But come on, man. Somewhere in there, y'all got to stop with the rhetoric and make it make sense. Because right now, like I said, one plus one, it ain't two. It ain't two. But as long as Israel and Ukraine is part of that package, then y'all pass the measure. Y'all fund the government till September 30th, right? As long as they send 20 billion more dollars across the pond, where you got homeless vets here that need help. You should be finding a way to cut down on the veteran suicide rate. You should be put things in place that since veterans were getting job and adequate housing. You got all, and that's just the veteran side of it. That's just the veteran side of it, because this is a veteran conversation. There's no way in the hell this country allegedly got all this money, but the level of homelessness and destitute is at the rate that it is here. Ain't no way in hell. But you know what that's about. I told y'all before, it's to keep the status quo, right? They need certain people to be destitute. They need certain people to be illiterate. They need certain people to go to not have access to quality foods and quality education. I already done told y'all this conversation. I already told y'all why they needed that to happen, why they needed that in place. You did? That's something that's very purposely done, intentional, like a mug. And until people wake up and start fighting for the right things and having a conversation about the right things, it's going to keep going on. As long as y'all keep being distracted, worried about what's going over there with Trump. Man, I don't care if he falsified 200 billion. That's white wealthy people stuff. Man, they ain't got nothing to do with me. That conversation exceeds my tax bracket. That conversation ain't got nothing to do with none else. Understand what I'm saying? That conversation is all about them. That, like I said, that conversation is all about high money, wealthy white guys. And the crazy part about it is, if they put nothing but black sisters in front of them to prosecute them, tell me that ain't a play. Tell me that ain't a play. You want to use black women to go and prosecute this guy? Like, come on, man. Come on, man. Pay attention to what's going on here, man. That's why this conversation ain't got nothing to do with us. Because y'all not even going to y'all ain't even going to pay attention to the right parts of the conversation. Y'all going to make the matters worse. Because it's already a distracted type conversation. Y'all going to add more distraction with bullcrap rhetoric and propaganda. Help me, help you. Like we gotta wake up, we gotta do better. But um, I just wanted to touch base with y'all, man. I always appreciate y'all coming through, messing with your boy. Um, we still got these politics on the corner merch, hoodies, t-shirts. Depending on where you at, you don't need no t-shirt, you need a hoodie. um, but get with me. I appreciate the love and support as always, man. Principles and parameters. Y'all know what it is with me. Real Rat King, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, Amazon, Apple Podcasts. We all over the place, man. Once again, Joe's Nelson, I appreciate the love and support. Advanced Chemical Systems, I appreciate the love and support. We out of here, man. We'll get back with y'all in a minute.